Hello, and welcome back to the Single Society. My name is Jo, and this is the space where we're going to be reframing a conversation about what it means to be single, looking at things through a positive light, all that is best about singles' life. Now, some of you may already know that I also run singles nights in Manchester, Preston, and York at the time of recording. That is expanding all the time, so there may well be singles nights in more spaces now. And hopefully, if you've listened before, you will know that this is very much a space where being single is seen as a positive and a very valid choice to make. If you are new to this podcast, then please let me just stress that to you. I am absolutely not suggesting for a moment that being single is in any way the lesser option. I think often it can be the right place to be, either for a space, for a time in your life, or for the longer term. There is real joy and real creativity to be found in that. But I also do think that it is a perfectly valid choice if you want to find a partner, if that is something you are interested in or open to, that you want to explore that option. And the singles nights that I run are very much about trying to create safe spaces for people to meet and to connect in person in a slightly more authentic way, as compared to online dating, which can feel somewhat tiring on occasion. So that is what we're going to be focusing on in this episode, is singles nights, and specifically within that, how to ask for someone's number. Now, to be completely honest with you, this doesn't actually only apply to singles nights, and it certainly doesn't just apply to the ones that I run. There are definitely many contacts in day-to-day life where you may want to ask for somebody's number, someone's caught your eye, you've had an interesting conversation, you'd like to carry it on, see them again, and you want to ask them, but it does feel intimidating. Firstly, let me say that is so normal. It would almost not be human to feel a flutter of nerves about doing something like that, but it is a really brave and a really beautiful thing to do, being open to the possibility of finding love. So, how do you ask for someone's number? Well, it may surprise you to learn, given the introduction that I just gave you, that I'm actually going to say don't. Don't ask for their number. Instead, what I want you to do, or what I would suggest you do, let me reword that instantly, not what I want you to do, what I would suggest that you do, is that rather than asking them for their number, offer them yours instead. It sounds like a subtle difference, but it really changes the dynamic of the whole interaction. It's much softer. It's much easier for them to say yes to because the ball is still in their court. Now, speaking on a personal level, if I'm gonna give you the negative example first, which hopefully won't happen, but let's look at the negative to begin with, just to kind of get that out of the way. If you're in a situation where somebody asks for your number and you actually aren't that interested in them, hopefully that won't be the case, but let's cover that off first. In a situation where you're not that interested, you're going to say no because it feels quite intense for them to then have your details and to be able to contact you anytime that they may want to. Whereas if somebody asks for your number, whereas if they offer to give you their number, it's a much softer way of doing it because you can accept that, you can take the number, and the power is still kind of in your hands. You've still got that freedom as to whether you want to follow up or not. So it just creates a bit more flexibility. Now, there's two reasons that might be a benefit. One is just in the initial moment, it essentially kind of allows you to save face. And let's be honest, we're all human. We'd all rather not experience rejection. And it's nicer for someone to go, oh yeah, sure, and for them to have your number, even if unfortunately you don't ultimately hear from them, and hopefully you will, but it's better that than the kind of awkwardness of, oh, can I give you my number, and them just saying no. That can feel a little bit toe curling and might put you off doing it again, whereas they will almost certainly say yes, sure, to taking yours because all the the power's still in their hands basically, and it means in the moment it just feels less intense for you. However, edging towards optimism, and I promise we're going to get more and more optimistic as we go through this episode, so please stay with me. On a slightly more optimistic note, what might also happen is that even if they initially say yes and they're not sure if they're going to message you, they might keep chatting to you. Or if it is at a singles night, they might keep, observing how you are with others through the singles night. And by the end, they might think, do you know what? Actually, I think I am going to drop him, her, them a message. I'm going to see if they'd be interested in still meeting up with me. I'm going to get in touch. So by softening it initially, even if it could have been a no, even if at the first stage of meeting, if you'd said, can I give you my number? They might have not felt ready for that and said no, but by softening it, by you giving them your number, you've given them a little bit more space to reflect, and it opens up for more possibilities. So, apologies, because that was the more negative slant. Now, obviously, I'm sure that you are absolutely wonderful, and the vast majority of the time, people are going to be incredibly flattered if you offer to give them your number, and they're going to say yes enthusiastically, and they're going to really want to take it. Even then, it is still a better way round of doing it, because it allows you that security of you've made the first move by offering, but you still then get that kind of confidence boost, that security of knowing, yes, this feels right. This is, potentially going to be dating and then a relationship when they choose to follow through. So it's nice for you as the person who's offered to then have that signal as well back to you. The other element of this is that there are lots of ways to do it that really show that you've listened to the other person. So the best way to offer to give somebody your number is by following it up based on something that's just been said. So, say you were talking about a shared love of a particular band. You might say, oh, I'd love to send you an album at some point, or there's another artist I know who's really similar. Could I give you my number, and then if you're interested, get in touch and I'll send it over to you. Or they might have been talking about something that you actually know nothing about, and you might say, oh, do you know what, could I give you my number? I'd love to keep chatting. Honestly, this is not my area, but I'd be so interested to learn more. And it's just a really kind of easy, gentle way of naturally following through on whatever you've just been talking about. So ask open questions, listen to what they're saying, and then make sure that you've got that opportunity to follow up. I should stress, this is not gendered. Whatever your gender identity, please do feel free to offer your number to people. 21st century, do your thing. It's important that we all have that space and opportunity to do so. There's loads more episodes coming up soon, so if you've yet to subscribe, please do so now, and it means that you can stay tuned for all that's to come. If you're interested in singles nights as well, I'll pop the link in the description box for you. See you there.